Hi. Hi, everybody. Happy Fun Day. I acclaim today to be Fun Day, not Sunday. Although Sunday's not bad either. How about Fun Day Sunday? How you doing, Norma Jean?
You know me. Always in it deeply, if
Yeah.
not in it at all.
Well, I got to go outside for a lovely hike this morning and lots of snow and good company, good chats, good conversations, and a little bit of wildlife. Few people, but very seldom. People don't like to be out in the snow here unless they're on a hill and it's right that contains space. But yeah, for me, I just love to be out in it for different perspectives, for babbling brooks, for what nature arrives, and what was having a conversation with my friend, and he asked me how yesterday was on our membership, and I shared something with him. He goes, how do you know that I had a question around that? How did you know that that's the one thing you were going to speak to? I'm like, I didn't. Whatever popped into my mind. And so we had a good conversation around family obligations. And maybe we can even start there because I think it's coming up. If I hear about it a few times, we're going to hear about it a lot more. Those family obligations, the shoulda, coulda, wouldas that we end up doing for others so that we meet their expectations of us. And in my experience, and what we tend to share is, my desire to help my mother when my father passed away, and to give my mother all this, like, oh my gosh, she must be devastated. And she was. They were so codependent. But it put us into this rescue or victim mode where whatever my mother needed, she would just reach out to me and I would be there, right? Bells on. And that was me looking for validation externally. And one doesn't know these things until you've been through it and you start to look inward and look for the habits and the repeat patterns in your life. And then once you know, you just can't unknow it. And so I adore my mother. I really, really do. But she's here to live her life, and I'm here to live mine. And yes, they may intersect and have a bit of a dance with them, but I'm not here to rescue anybody, not even my own child. All I can do is hold the space and hold it with love and be kind. Absolutely. Yeah, isn't great full time. No, it's not great full time. It's very disheartening. Hello, Miss Cindy. Did you want to add anything to that, Norma?
I feel that we almost go through that period in time of growth to allow what, you know, takes place to that we will sit with and allow to bring forth some of
Yeah.
what we need to understand about our position, our role, and our growth in that. And when my father passed away, it was one of those that I immediately stepped up um, to kind of take on that position to a level and degree. For I knew that everything that my father taught me, I knew that I was the one that would step up and be the one to take care of the house, um, the yard, and things like that. My mom was my mom is and has always been a very strong willed individual in her own right. Uh,
Mhm.
that there were times that I feel that I had gotten to the place where that stepping up did become one of those that might have been a crutch for both of us in a way. Not because I'm looking at it as good or bad, but knowing that being here and coming to Canada has not been easy on my mom. Me not being there and being that kind of rock, in certain areas and degrees and levels of of the family dynamic of things. So it was one of those that I had to make peace definitely with that huge choice to say I need this for me to explore who I can become and who in what I can create on my own, knowing that I must trust the process, that whatever is needed will be provided for her while I'm not there. So it's definitely been challenging in those ways. But once I made that peace and understood a lot of why I was, other than just what I was conditioned to believe or think about family dynamics, was when I recognized within myself what cage I held my mom in, and was able to see that and realize that, where maybe it was one of those times that I come to recognize and realize to a level and degree that was that last kind of cutting of what would be that umbilical cord kind of attachment.
Mm-hmm.
I felt it was time for me to stand on my own and know that everything would be taken care of as I took this that fork in the road, and I chose this type of road that may be of what they call an arduous road, but yet there's so much to be explored and experienced of myself in that, where when I did finally arrive here, the peace within me is totally different than I would have expected it to be. So there's no guilt. I love my mama dearly. That's my mama. And I would always be there for her in however I can. Yet I know that there was a drive within me to explore any and all possibilities and probabilities of me becoming a role or a part of a huge significance of the profound shift we speak about with the human race in what we're experiencing.
Yeah. Well, it all started when Norma Jean got here and we turned around and got on a plane.
Yep.
And we're in Egypt. And as soon as we got to the place, I looked around and there's Norma. I said, huh? Can't run anywhere now, can ya? Yeah, she's never been out of the country that way.
No. Man, it was one of those, it was like, boom, done, go. It's woo, So I knew that, yeah, it was definitely one of those. I had to have a lot of peace with that huge, because that was a huge significant step for me. Huge,
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I've traveled my entire life. For me, and it's funny because I was speaking with somebody the other day. They're like, I want to go to Japan. I'm like, sure, as long as you're comfortable not knowing, right? We can arrange that, because I won't book everything. I will and I've been to Japan, so I know enough, and I just know how safe it is too. But it's not to pre-plan and perfect everything before you go, because that takes all the fun out of it for me. I'm like, we'll land here and then we have like a week and we want to be over here. So we got somewhere to land there, and whatever happens in between is pure magic. And we just allow it to unfold. And in that unfolding, the most incredible things happen, like they did in Greece. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And even having the flexibility while we were in Egypt to adjust and change and adapt as we went. That's all part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that probably, even though this next go around is definitely going to be where it's a little easier in our travels. However, I wouldn't change what we experienced when we was there, because there was so much to see. Because there's so much because when you're in that position of seeing one area of a country, knowing that that's where a lot of the Mecca takes place for, because the pyramids and things are there. But to be able to ride through the countryside and to see what was taking place further out was profound in its own way. To see that no matter what's taking place within a city, outside that city, there's a lot that's being created, and the agriculture that I seen that was being put into place, that in my hopes of what I see about Egypt and its people, is I hope that it comes to be something that is is distributed amongst the people to take care of the people.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's almost as if in linking in the conversation we're having about, a parent playing the victim and you being the rescuer for them, thinking, oh, I need to take care of them, that's what I'm supposed to do, versus what really, really, really needs to be done. In many ways, the Egypt government is playing, and most governments, let's be honest, is playing rescuer, and all the civilians or people that live there are playing victim. They had a revolution, and that was 7 or 8 years ago.
And that's the problem.
Right? Yeah. Go ahead, Norma. What you gonna say about revolution?
Well, it's something. It's beautiful that you bring this up, T, because it's something that I've been focused on actually very deeply today, and just what I
was picking up on it.
Well, it's about understanding what's the difference, because you see, we've been through how many revolutions and nothing's changed, and therein lies the problem, because a revolution is what? A repeat.
Yeah.
But what we are here doing, what I am building to bring forth, is revelation. That's where the change takes place, not a revolution. Because when we look at revolutions, we look to see that it shows you that you're in a construct, and that there's nothing that's...
It's like the merry-go-round or the spiral. We're hitting that collectively as a point again.
Right.
Right.
So how many evolutions have we been through and nothing's changed, other than the appearance of the construct in which we're in, because merely what the system is built upon just changes form.
Yeah. Right.
So it's one of those that I found it just fascinating, just in my just setting and sitting with, letting that just work through me, to have that full significant understanding of what are we. And the question I asked me, what am I really doing here? What is it that I'm really doing?
Yeah.
Because that's so vitally important for me. And in that, whenever we get to, when you look at it, even the Bible speaks to, what is the last book of the Bible? Revelations. And when we look at the Bible, and we understand that the Bible is its own coded book, but when we read the Bible, do we read it because of how we're taught to read it, or do we read it in a way where we understand that revelation is something that you utilize in your understanding of your everyday existence in life, to understand the revolutions that are taking place, in order for that revelation to say, this is where your patterning is. So yeah, it's perfect. We're getting so good about this, where it's just like, you mentioned something, it's like, oh, I was just on that, or vice versa. And so it's a very profound thing, because even having that in-depth just reflections, and seeing just the patternings in my life, helps me to really recognize the patternings that have been taking place for so long, that this is not about a revolution. We've been doing that. It's not working. But yet, to understand that we can't fight the system, to understand that the way to change the system is to see the system for what it is, and to shift it to a solution-oriented approach, because things are what they are. So this is where individuals like you and I, and the ones that bring this information forward, is how much raw honesty can we get into pointing out those patternings, to get beyond because even when it's moving to spirituality, it's still something that's still within a system. And can you recognize through your discernment where the truth lies? So when we look at this system, and even it's like a leopard. It can never change its spots, but it can rearrange them. And that's an old saying, and there's a reason for that saying. So I'm sorry,
that's okay. That's all right. But it's true. And Cindy's got a good point too, that, we're all being pushed right now to get out of our only if everything's all hunky dory and comfortable, nobody changes because there's no reason to change. Only when people are pushed, right? And suffer. Sorry, great change only comes from suffering. There has to be a challenge to overcome. Otherwise, people just don't change. It's not human nature. At least it hasn't been. So to strive to change, right? One has to be almost uncomfortable. It's facing yourself at the end of the day. It's all about, are you willing to look at yourself and find the solutions for you within to start shifting what you want to see change outside? Yeah.
Because the construct is what it is. It's not random. The only thing that's random is the information. And that depends on how it is presented. And there's very, very few individuals or things that I've come across, especially like YouTube and things like that, where when they provide that information, it has a flow, it has an order to it. Mm-hmm. And where somebody presents that information, or they're presenting it to you with what is called the receipt. Do they have the receipt that speaks to what it is that they're presenting to you? And have they been able to explain to you, express to you what every line on that receipt means? And so it's like with this that's coming through for me, it's like, okay, so if I'm going to present something, I'm going to present it in a way where when I present it, I have the receipt to back it. I have the flow needed in order to create the structure of the understanding and the flow where people can see it from a broader perspective, because it takes that eagle eye view.
Yeah. Yeah. We really got to zoom out. We were talking about perspectives today, and that zooming out and really having, I keep talking about a cosmic perspective, because if I look at this cosmically, this whole political game, it's like, man, whatever. It doesn't mean a lot. What matters to me is more of Earth as a whole, humanity as a whole, right? And nobody's coming to rescue us. It's all an inside job. So,
Literally.
Right? Literally. And Witchmaster has it right. The Bible is a blueprint for kingdom building, not true spirituality. Yeah, that you have to explore within. And I know so many of you are like, I don't get it. I don't know what you mean. It really means if you feel uncomfortable about something, and I can tell you, we got this full moon energy popping in right now. And if you're feeling uncomfortable about your emotions or energy in motion, giving you guidance for what's going on in your environment and an opportunity to look at it, to sit with it, to ask, oh, what is this about? Why do I feel this way? I did a talk a couple weeks ago around judgment. Whatever you judge in others is a mirror for you to look at for yourself. Why are you judging them? So when you take radical responsibility for self and choose you will find that you will be like, oh, damn, I'm the common denominator in my life. My eyes are projectors. They're right. We're projecting out. Everything is a vibration. Every color has a frequency. Everything is shifting at different vibrations. And it's maybe challenging to understand, but as we grasp that, we're like, oh, so when you become really an observer of what you have showing up in your environment, because you are vibration, electromagnetic, sending out a frequency, therefore attracting specific things to you based on that, and lapping, think about it, lapping in almost like a circle to expand your consciousness. Some things are going to show up again and again. Damn, that energy's here again, and everything is energy. Why is this showing up again? What did I not get last time? You go, revolution.
because of releasing.
Revolve. Yeah, revolve and now have a solution. So you come at it from a new perspective, because otherwise it'll never change. Go ahead.
No, and that's where we come to understand. Rebecca, you're asking a beautiful question here. What's the tool that is best for us to perceive ourselves in humanity cosmically? Something is missing, and I've been pondering on this past few days. Nothing's missing, love. It's you already have what you need within you. You really, really do. Every single one of us does. It's about, where are we receiving the truth of the information from? Is it the mind, or is it the heart? Because you see, when we look at the heart equates to earth. And when we look at the system in which we are in, we are the center of what's taking place in our own world.
Our own universe.
Right. So when we look at the cosmos and the planets that exist in orbit around the central sun, those are the energies of the emotions that take place, because we have a moon that pulls upon the tides, which affects us because we are water. So when we look at Earth, and it's the heart of who we are, and we understand that we have a solar chakra, that the heart represents the earth that is revolving, that is orbiting around the many energies that exist in this experience, so to speak. So it's all about understanding that the tool that you have is your past. Because you see, your past is not meant to be luggage. It's not meant to be something that holds you back. Your past is giving you every bit of experiences that you need to utilize right here, right now, in your understanding of where you are in what is considered this construct, because you're an individual on your own way of understanding the universe, the very earth planet that you are, in order to understand how you're a part of this collectively. It's all an inside job, because when we stop releasing, because what is a lease? We already know what that is. But when you put in front of anything, it's something that's continual. It comes back around. So when we release, it's like we're releasing a place or a position of where we are, because we're not ready to move to a next place or space or level in what is taking place, whether it's that we're just not there physically, mentally, emotionally, whatever it may be. And that's okay. There's nothing, I'm not saying it's good or bad, but what I'm saying is when you're on a clock, in that time, in that point shows up, and you're like, nope, I just release this. It's something I can focus on right here, right now, for whatever purpose or reason. It makes a mark on that clock. It's going to come back around. That's what a clock does, because that's the gift of time.
Absolutely.
That's your revolution. That's your revolution.
Well, and there's a cosmic clock in the sky, and the moon is part of that, and so is the sun, right? Yeah, beautiful, beautiful feedback, everyone. And I just want to add, Rhea, that when I talk about zooming in, you see me, I will close my eyes. So you might say zooming out, but really I'm zooming into myself and pulling my energy back. And that gives me the opportunity, especially if I sit in my heart or my higher heart, down into wherever you choose to have as a resting point that is not the mind. So if I allow my consciousness through the breath and just relaxation, it went into my solar that time. And I just allow it. Where would you like to be? What do I need to perceive? What information would you like to share with me, or ask a question? Yeah. Absolutely. Well, let's talk about this. I did pull some cards for the collective today in tarot. Now, I am no Ashala, but as we go through the years of doing this, we certainly do learn. And today's the moon. We are February 9th today. We are 9, 10, 11, 12, 3 days in our time zone from this next full moon. And yes, Norma, that was a beautiful explanation. So in the moon, the moon is emotions, subconscious, and we've got these beautiful little soul fragments coming down. Now, are you the dog or are you the wild wolf? Where's your energy at right now with this full moon as where you're stepping into it? And the crayfish represents, looking at your reflection, and can you see deeper? Can you see past that? You're not a big fan of the moon card. Well,
It's just a
yeah,
satellite.
right? It's just a satellite. Yeah. And then what else we get is 6 of Swords. Again, water, blue, emotions, swiftly moving away from troubles, so to speak. This is for the collective. 5 of Cups. And I don't remember all the specifics for these, but and we see the yellow sand and there's still a little bit of emotion there, but this is much more connected. Even though there's 3 cups built, there's still 2 standing up behind. So just when you think you've given up, put your head up and look around. What else might you see? It's time to let go of some things and lay them to rest. 4 of Swords. And it's a really beautiful stained glass window there too. And then we have Temperance. Temperance is beautiful, reminds you it's okay to let your emotions flow. They're just energies in motion. You do not need to hang on to anything. Just let it flow through you. Patience. Nature's always loving. Does nature judge you? No. So why are you so hard on yourself, right? Be patient with yourself. And here you go, Raya. We end with the sun. And I did not make this up. These all jumped out. So there's where we're going. Full
It's
freedom.
beautiful order. Beautiful
right?
order too. Because
Right?
look, when you look at the symbology of just what is within these pictures and the way that you pulled them.
Yeah.
I mean, because I see things so just the way that I do. And the one where you got to every single one of them you've pulled up to a certain point has water in them. What is water? It's emotion. Ebb and tide, up and down, back and forth. But the one where you said to lay down, that's that time of reflection. That's that time to sit or set with oneself. And then the next card you pulled was of a flow.
Yeah.
Allow the heart to flow and provide you with that guidance, for it's in between the thoughts that the guidance is provided. It's that in between state that as you lay there, it's one of those that's really going to have those profound moments, because you're going to either have an aha or you're going to come popping up off that couch and go, I didn't think of it that way. Thank you. Or thank you for that guidance, because this is where you really start to feel the wholeness in the fullness of everything that you are, because then you're in that balance.
Right. And it's up to you to figure out your balance. So we talk about, what cycles do you go through in a month? What range of emotions? So, and don't judge yourself. The last 3 days, it feels like all of me is like being like pushed and pulled at the same time. It's like, I'm a Rubik's Cube.
Somebody flipping you really
there's
fast.
Nothing I can do. And there's nothing I need to do. I just need to be witness to it. What's showing up? Who's reaching out? Who's calling? Yeah. It was really important for me to get outside Why do you feel opposite others during these moon phases? Because each of us will have our own. So those that some did you see on the moon card, Shay, that even though it's a full moon, are you the wolf or are you the dog? Right? It's up to you and where your emotions are at. So we just need to figure it out.
It's like you said, it's about your reproach.
Yeah.
These cycles give you a chance and opportunity to see the things within yourself that you say you want to change.
Yeah.
You either take that time, you say, okay, I want to utilize this time to evaluate my possibility of transcending this, or I'm going to say, I'm going to release this right now because I'm just not in a position or place. And I know that if I make choices from here, I'm just going to make things worse. So there's that mark upon that clock, that time, and it's going to come back around. Everything is cyclical because we are upon what is considered a sphere. What is a watch? It's a sphere. What is a period? It's a sphere. It's that in between because it ends something and something new begins.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm happy to hear both Rhea and Cindy that you're both feeling that. I think there's many more of us feeling this. And it's like I can't even express it. I tried to express it yesterday. I did 3 videos and deleted them all. So it's really important to just sometimes I got nothing to say. I'm just going to observe this, and when I know, I know. And so today being out in nature was it was really nice to get back outside. I've also had a women's group on Friday night that I was helping host, and tonight I have a sound bath. So when I get into these, I really preserve my energy as well to make sure that I don't overtax the body and the mind. Although Friday I had quite the day. I was open for a couple appointments and it ended up rolling into several. So between Jade's dental work, yeah. Oh no, you can't express it, right? Exactly.
I want to touch upon something that was mentioned here from Witchmaster. Judgment really is the root of the problem, isn't it?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. But then why are we so addicted to it? It makes us feel powerful, I'd say. Well, here's the thing. There is a level and degree that what you speak to is truth. But as I read this and what I'm coming through to understand how to express, well, where does that power lie? It lies within that. The reason why it's something that's so addicting is because it exists in this realm. What do we have? We have court systems. What is the one that's the most powerful in that courtroom? The judge. So when we talk about power, it's either a power that is influential and it helps us in our growth, or it's a power that is utilized in a forceful way of making us feel small of ourselves. So that's why I say, get rid of the courtrooms in your mind. Get rid of the courtroom of the system that's in place here that we say we want to change. How do we do that? We take it out of ourselves first. We stop being a judge of our choices. To understand that, you don't even have to step into a courtroom. If anything, sit down with your shadow, because your shadow is going to tell you a lot more than that judge will ever tell you in yourself. So that's where you're able to become the observer. You're able to become that observer that brings the light to the shadow. Because when the shadow expresses itself and the light listens, and it understands and it integrates what the shadow is sharing with it, then is the process of where you illuminate that shadow to alleviate it from its connection to the ego. You overcome, you transcend, you transmute that energy through the alchemization of the truth of the process of dark and light. Because the only thing that's dark is the future. That's the only thing that the shadow fears. It doesn't know. But in order for you to open the shadow up to be in that balance with the light, is to say, neither one of us has the answer, but we do have enough information about who we are and what we experience to say we can formulate a solution to the creative processes of what we want to see through our imagination and our creation as co-creators, because that's the co-creation.
Beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. I'm loving this. And you've got light coming in on your one side and shadow on the other, Norma Jean.
Mic drop.
Right? Beautiful.
So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So these perspective things, because everyone's perspective is so unique, and you know, we need to take some of these and do clips from these, because these are profound. What is downloaded and comes through on these, or what is tapped into that comes through on these, because once we're done this, it's like we're so present to be here, to express, to share, to empower, to empower, that we really, really, really forget sometimes afterwards that we should be capturing some more of this. So yeah, if you find someone, if you can give us a like, if you're enjoying this, maybe if you're over on YouTube, don't forget to follow, or Rumble to follow us if you're new, and share it out if you feel it's relevant for somebody else to hear, because sharing is caring.
And this is free.
Right. Yeah. And as we go through this, whatever, never have I actually felt the exact way I feel right now. And it's not good and it's not bad. It just is. But it's not like I'm flying so high or I'm super, super low. It's still a very neutral, something feels discombobulated, but I don't need to do anything to fix it. All right, let's see what happens next. Yeah, let's see what happens next. So there's a lot going on for Earth right now. And there's a lot going on cosmically, per se, for energies incoming, so to speak. So even to be balanced, but feeling imbalanced is okay. That's an okay place to be. There's nothing wrong with it, right? Yeah. Absolutely. It's a very weird feeling. Yeah. Yeah. Very neutral, almost disassociated, but not quite. Yes. Balanced. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. So grounded, but not grounded. Grounded, but connected, right?
You got something you're hanging on to, because when your axis is like this, where are you stepping to cause the wobble, to cause the imbalance? Because we're either being drawn because that we are part of a collective, or we're understanding how not to be pulled. Emotions. That when we're on that, because you see, we're on a plane, but that plane is only held up by a pivot, which is our pivotal positioning. How much are we understanding how to balance that plane that it sits upon, that pivot? And our emotions tells us this. So when we're having those emotional days, all you got to do is understand, okay, I need to find my center so I can get balance back out, so the wobble's not so much. Man, I'm telling you, when you're able to have all this knowledge and information of understanding from within, that anything that I take in as, because it's nourishment. I don't eat it because it's placed before me. I don't eat everything that I utilize as something to bring me nourishment of an understanding. I utilize it to understand the world that I am, so I understand how to keep balance within myself, so I understand how to present it in a way here that is solution that brings balance to the whole of the collective, because I am a part of all this too. So it's in this that I know that if I'm doing this, it's because the collective is having that pull upon me, because I am in balance of self, but I'm still going to be swayed because I'm connected to that. But can I keep my balance to help in that way of that greater aspect of self to keep that balance within myself, so that way I help the collective in ways that I possibly can to keep the balance and not make such a wobble upon the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and remember this too. It's you know, it's you experiencing it. But if you can if you can balance this, you can balance anything. This is one of the most challenging times ever energetically that we're going through. Yeah.
Politics.
Right?
That's why it's called politics. It's because it's a pole tick. The
Right?
politics are affecting the pole in the ticks. So it's throwing off the collective, because the collective is either being pulled or left or to the right. It's
Yeah.
the imbalance of the connection of the mind, which is dualism, division, separation. Of course, it's a
Right?
game. That's
Yeah.
the system. That's the construct in which we are in.
Yeah.
So it's
And
not
my heart,
random.
yeah. My heart so goes out as I witness so many in complete polarity with each other over politics, even though at the end of the day, they want the same things. As human beings, we all want the same thing. Can you pull your energy back, find that common ground, and realize that there's way more of us than any politicians? What happens when we unite as the human race and take our power back? You see, you're letting them win by being divided. You're giving your power to them, whether it's positive or negative. Energy is your currency. Quit giving your power away. You know, everyone's like, oh, you're so neutral on this. I'm like, I'm not giving my energy to that. I'm going to give my energy to where I know it counts and makes a difference. Abso-freaking-lutely. Every time. Every time. Yeah. So, yeah, I feel for you. I feel for you that you're in that polarity stage. I've been there. I know what that feels like. I know what that feels like. Can you move past it? Can you move through it? There's another revolution to happen within you. And we have the High Priestess. That was just for the last conversation. So I think those are pomegranates in the background, if I'm right. I'm trying to recall. But definitely lots of energy there and polarity. Black and white. Can you master being both? Can you see the good in each? Now I'm being reminded of, certain goddesses in Egypt.
Well, a polarity is also a reality.
That's true.
To be experienced.
Yeah.
It depends on what latitudinal position of the plane that you're on. Are you in the higher or are you in the lower? Polarity is just polarity. It is what it is, but it's a reality because of what ends it. There's your period.
Right? Norma Jean's got this like little cartoon professor with her. Can you guys see it? Yeah.
It's comical in its own way. When you come to it, you're like, yes. Oh my God. Because when you get to see him really clearly what has been taking place for so long, because it's not about history in its own right. That just tells us. It's about recognizing that the history is also your past experiences that tell you. That's how you find that relatable place and find the balance, because you're like, oh, history does repeat itself because it repeated itself within me because of the experiences I kept having over and over and over and over and over again.
Exactly. And only you can shift it. I'm not going to do that this way again. Let's try it another way. What happens if I do this? More tools in the toolbox. That's, to me, when I think about past, is some of the most valuable lessons that you'll never forget, because once you know, you can't unknow. And the most profound, knowing thyself. I know that I love to travel. I love to be creating a life versus being in one spot and being more of a consumer. You're consuming your life. And now that's not to say I've adjusted, and this winter especially put some extra intention into creating. We went to Whistler for Christmas. Christmas. Get more history. Sorry, that all just happened at the same time.
No, it was profound. It was perfect. It was beautiful because there's there's truths in that.
Right?
His story, her story.
Yeah.
It's all of the tongue.
Right.
But you got to understand, the serpent is what's at the R complex of the mind. So it doesn't make it good or bad. It just means that everyone here that's written something had their own perspective, their own perception.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that was because of the revolutions.
Mm-hmm.
How can somebody write something unless they've had enough of an experience of it to be what you would say, what's the word I'm looking for? They become, basically kind of like a professor of it. They understood it at a level where like, I can write about this.
Yeah.
And then I can put whatever my perspective or perception is about it. But understanding that what you're doing is reading somebody else's history, her story. What you're doing is you're utilizing what's been written to understand you're here now. So that way, you know what took place and what it takes to change. Because it's already been written. If it's already been written, it's already been experienced. If it's already been experienced, then we're still waiting on something new now, aren't we?
Right? Yeah. You are that something new. But do something. I wanted to add to that again because we got into history.
Sorry.
That's there. I just want to finish the thought. Was I made extra intention in creating experiences that would be not repeat, because you can never repeat the same experience as you go into like a ski hill. It's always something unique. But to go to Whistler for Christmas, to, get over to Salt Spring in the fall, to make these extra efforts to be creative while here, to do things differently, going to the sauna or the steam. And I'll be the first person to say, I love being outside and exploring and finding trails I didn't know were there, which I found today. Well, we found it last time we were out there, but I was like, can't believe I didn't know this was here. Can't believe I didn't know it was here. Because normally I know all the little side trails. So that's super exciting to know I've been somewhere for 20 years and haven't found some of the trails. So then I'm creating. Yeah. So are you creating your life or consuming your life? Can you do things slightly differently? Can you brush your teeth with the other hand? Can you walk a new way? Can you drive a different way? Can you try a new food, fruit, vegetable, anything that keeps, because that'll create new neural pathways and get you thinking differently. Yeah. Norma Jean doesn't have a hope in hell. Some of the things I feed her. We had liver last night. I haven't had liver in years. I keep them guessing around this house. Yes, it is. You're the snake.
And that's okay. I mean, because that's the beauty about like when we look at the Western astrology to Chinese astrology.
Yes.
Because Chinese astrology is about cycles. It's cyclical. And Western astrology is about primarily understanding the energies of the position in the place in which you were birthed. So when we utilize the two to understand the whole, that you just get so much. Well, for me, sorry, for me, it's like I just get
always
more
learning something new. Yeah.
Right. So it's profound because my sister, and when you talk about the years of snake, she's very versed in understanding the Chinese calendar and the system that they utilize, and she does it with the numbers. She's able to create like these pyramids of numbers and understand how the 1 through 9 in the numbers work within that system, and how the 369 shows up at a certain periods in time of the Chinese zodiac, and how certain years provide certain sequences of those numbers within the pyramid system. It's a primordial system, primordial. So it's something that is already telling you the patterns of what's going to take place. So that's like understanding the patterns of when for example, when the stock market crashed in the 20s and what took place in 2008. So that pattern shows up. It's just in a different way.
Right? They're all patterns. Yeah. So Witchmaster, just to let you know, we did do a good talk on the snake. Was that Shay and I think last Wednesday? Oh, Norma Jean, can you get the names for the draw, please?
Yeah, it's right here.
I just remembered. Yeah. And you're the snake. Yeah. What are you willing to shed? And if you think about it, the snake even has skin on its eyes and it's got to get that off. And so it's really, it can't be comfortable. So we look at a lot of different metamorphoses and what else, even there's so many things that have these different shifts within them, like the dragonfly, the butterfly. So as they go through these, this is why it's important. Like, I'm not going to try and fix it. If I'm going through a metamorphosis, my body innately knows what to do, even if I don't with this mind yet. So I'm just going to allow it to be. Yeah. Ray is horse. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know a ton about the horse. I'm a dog. What are you?
Rabbit.
Lucky rabbit. But then there's the different elements with each one too. So the pale horse, yeah. Norma Jean's been digging into that. I'm not even going to tap into that one right now. I think we've covered enough for today. So we want to do our draw, as we always promise. If you go to the website, adventuresforconnection.com, and you sign up for the newsletter, you automatically get put into a draw for a free 1-hour session with me. Usually go about an hour and a half. What does that include? Well, let me tell you. I intuitively connect with you, your higher self, your energy, your being, and knowing what I know, I quite often am speaking with not just the mind, but with the energies as well, and let you know what comes through. No two are the same. They're always different. Things that I can't even think, like I can't create it. I could list everything that comes through, and I'm like, wow, it's the first time that's ever happened. So I'm just really open for positive intuition and ideas to come through around healing. Maybe it's another timeline for you that's relevant to this one that comes through. It's really, creating a bridge for you and stepping into that. And then I tend to do a custom meditation as part of it so that one can reprogram their subconscious. And that when you do that for 21 to 30 days, you will see a shift in your life. I have many, many souls that have done this, and it's quite profound and beautiful. So reprogram your subconscious to perceive differently, but you got to make the change. If you're consuming the same thing all the time and you're not willing to put it down and do things differently and get outside more and, take 15 minutes to listen to a meditation for yourself, nothing will change if you're not willing to change. Yeah. Oh, we got everyone saying what they are now. Oh, I'm an ox. Beautiful. So go ahead with the draw. Who is it? Who gets to come and play with me?
It's Tamara Matuzwick.
Ooh! Yay! Tamara, guess what? She's coming to Sedona. So how beautiful is that we get to do a session pre-Sedona? Oh, I'm so excited. Beautiful. Awesome. Yes, Sedona's in April, guys. April 10th to the 15th. Really, if you can only come between the 11th and the 14th, but I wanted more space. And so we're staying in a really quiet area with a barrel sauna and a creek running through it and a beautiful opportunity to explore and see how we like to play. Yeah, very excited. Awesome. Anything else, Chad, Norma Jean?
Wow. Just so that since it's quite fascinating that we what's being expressed here with the zodiacs, because I just got through creating an energy, keeping up with your daily energy or weekly energy by creating a 2025 calendar that is with the Western and the Chinese astrology. So I've got it I've got it put together. I'm in the process of finding places to put it because it's set up where simply you're able to keep up with what's taking place daily, which leads to a weekly reflective moment to look and see what the moon has affected you in the other energies for those days. So, like I said, there's a lot of build going on here. A lot. A lot.
By build, she means creative. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
and yeah,
I'll
beautiful.
be getting that. Once I get that in a way that can be purchased in many different ways, I will be offering that pretty soon for each of you that chooses to utilize it. So that way it's it's called an energy tracker, because this is about energy. It's about your energy and understanding if you're utilizing it for self in your creative processes, or if there are things that are drawing you and drawing your energy in ways that is taken away from your ability to stay fully connected and conscious in your creative processes. So I just wanted to bring that, bring that out, so that way y'all know that, yeah, it's fun. It's beautiful, because I always want to be able to bring something that assists you in your understanding, that keeps you in that place where it brings you to more of a conscious level, puts you in that position and place of staying in the present moment, that helps you to understand how to manage those energies in which we exist in each day. So,
yeah, if you're not willing to shift, then nothing will change. And it's I get it, because it's more comfortable, even if it's uncomfortable, to stay in what's known than it is to embark on the unknown until you do it. And then you're like, what took me so long? And then once you do it and you break through that, you're going to want to do it more and more. But taking, this responsibility for you and your trajectory on this planet, for that which you wish to experience. Yeah. Which energy feeds you and which energy bleeds you. Absolutely. Yeah. You could even make a list of people, places, and things in your life. You will know. You will know.
Your past will tell you.
You're right.
When you start keeping up with these tracks, you start tracking these energies, I'm telling you, it's profound, because then you start to make the connections and understand where the patterns start to come forward to show you, so that you understand what patterns you need to recognize and break within yourself. And it helps you to see the ones that are here in this construct, to begin to understand what solutions to come up with that you have given to yourself, to break them within you, to help come up with the solutions for the collective, and assisting them in understanding how to break it for themselves.
Break free. Beautiful, Norma. Right, you guys, we're going to sign out. Oh, do you see something new on the screen, Norma Jean? Look at. Can you see that? No? You can you see outro video? You can end with an outro video now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we're wishing you all a very magical evening. Enjoy. Thank you for all your interactions. We really thrive on that. It is so much fun it's like playing pickleball. I don't know, I've never played pickleball. Ping pong.